In this video, I want to show you another video pattern for a face mask. This is the one that a little while ago I tried to do with a handy stitch, and I still didn't have any luck, but it's a good pattern anyway. Now, what you need is 2 pieces of fabric that are 8 3/4 inches wide by 7 inches tall, and you need 2 pieces of 5.5-inch long elastic. Now this is very similar to the flat pleated pattern, which is right here, except we're not going to have raw edges. And some people might find it easier to sew. Now the first thing is I have 2 pieces of denim here, and you're going to be pinning the elastic. You have your fabric right sides together, and you're going to pin your elastic a little over 1/4 inch from the edge. Now on the inside, what it looks like is this. Now I'm showing you that, so that side I need to pin the top piece in place. I'm showing you that because when you're stitching this, you have to be very aware of that piece of elastic, and you have to make sure you don't pick it up in the seam allowance and stitch through it. It needs to be, those are your ear loops, and they're on the inside. So even when you're sewing, if you have to push it out of the way through the fabric, you'll have to do that. Now this is going to have 1/4 inch seam allowance, so pin it down far enough so that it's further away from your seam allowance. So that's all you do. You take your fabric piece, 2 pieces, right sides together, and you pin the elastic to it like that. Then what you do is start at what I'm calling the bottom, and here's another one. This is the bottom, and you stitch around all the edges until you're back over here at the bottom, and you're leaving open about 2.5 inches to turn this. And you can see I ended up putting pins in the middle, and when I stitched this I pulled it tight, and you can almost see the bump of the elastic is a good 1/8 inch away from my seam. So that's what you do. You stitch all the way around, leave about 2.5 inches open on the bottom for turning. So we'll take these pins out. You can trim your corners and your seam allowances if you want to. I don't think it's this way. It's not going to add as much bulk as you would think. So then you turn this right sides out, and use a pencil or something to get the corners all the way out. And you basically have your square mask with no pleats at this point, and this is where you're going to use your iron, and you're going to press that in. That's your opening where you just turned it. You just want to press that edge, and you can see on the edges what this looks like. So you want to press it, and then when you press it, you're going to add either 3 pleats, as you've seen in pleated masks, or I like to add, it's actually 2 pleats that equal 1 that shows up on the front. See, there's really just 1 pleat there, and on the back it looks like that. So you're going to press your pleats in place, and I'm just using a pencil to get the corners out. And this is a lining fabric, which I thought would be good enough for a handy stitch, but it didn't work out that way. And it's going to be a little bit different to press because it's a lining fabric. My iron may not even reach this far, so maybe it will, maybe it won't. Whoops. Okay, so pretend my iron's not hot enough right now, but pretend you've pressed all the edges out, and when you form your pleat, or pleats, depending on how you want to do it, you then just pin them in place. And this is a fairly fast mask to make. And I think I'm going to be switching to this for those that I'm making for the town, just because it is fast. Let me just pin this. So pretend this is pressed, and I've got my pleat. That's the back. That's the front. And all you do now is go around the edges and top stitch all the way around, which will automatically close your opening at the bottom. And it will fit like this. So not much of a gap at all, no raw edges. 5.5 inches elastic should fit both women and men. This is an adult size. Oops. And then this one is damp. It goes right back down when you iron it or press it. And a finished edge without the raw edge. Fast, it's fast. And I've been meaning to do this since I started making them, to get rid of that raw edge on the other flat pleated one. But those are fast too. I made 4 of those for somebody, in just a few minutes last night. So this will be the same, a pleated mask with no raw edges, 8 3/4 inches wide, 7 inches tall, 5.5 inch elastic.